Good evening, fellow ghouls and specters alike. It's your ghost host with the most, Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive, here to engage in some haunted holiday hijinks by trudging through the catacombs and dusting off the cobwebs as we recount our spooky selection of Halloween classics.
So light the jack-o'-lantern, suit up, and grab the candy dish as we revive and recount tonight's selection, Futurama, the Honking! Maniacal laugh.
Laugh with me, Freakazoid! Laugh with me!
Honk honk. 0100100110001.
0101!
All right, Dragon. You know what's scarier than Halloween?
What?
Our track record when it comes to covering adult animated shows.
Huh.
Seriously, have you seen the like to dislike ratio on them?
Not recently, no.
Oh man. And let's just say I have a feeling it's honestly just because, not to throw any shade at potential audience that may be watching here, but folks, this is a podcast. All right? This is a podcast talking about the episode. It's not the actual episode itself. It is a podcast talking about the episode, and it says so right in the title. All right? We good? We good. All right?
To be fair,
sorry, I feel like the audience for adult animated shows just gets that distinction wrong the most out of anyone, and just is the most vocally pissed off about it. So I just want to make that clear. I just want to make that clear right off the bat.
well, just to kind of clarify things a little bit here. This is a problem we used to have way earlier on. I think people have kind of adjusted themselves to it. So hopefully that still remains true. Hopefully
I'm just saying, Dragon, every time we cover an adult animated show, we get dislikes, man. And I'm not saying it's because it's bad podcast. I legitimately think it's because of that stupid issue that I don't want to say it keeps coming up, because you're right. I feel like we've kind of, I feel like putting podcast in the title has helped, but I digress.
Yeah, I think you're just kind of citing some old record on that one, but okay.
Yeah. I feel like especially Road to the North Pole, Road to the North Pole is up there with the original Nicktoons movie months in terms of like to dislike ratio.
Yes.
It's not pretty.
Anyways,
in brighter news, let's talk about Futurama, Dragon, because this is honestly the first time that you and I have talked about anything Matt Groening.
Yes, that is true, yes.
And folks, can I just say for the record, I really wanted to do a Treehouse of Horror. I really wanted to, man. We need to do a Treehouse of Horror at some point. The problem with Treehouse of Horror, I found, is that it's obviously anthology and there's so many of them. And it's like, do we do like an individual segment of a Treehouse of Horror? Dragon, that honestly might be an option if we want something like really quick for next year. I don't know, I really want to do the Treehouse of Horror that has the Shinning parody in it. And I'd be down to do just the Shinning on its own, Dragon. I feel like that'd be like a Garfield, Christmas in July type situation, that'd be like the perfect 7 minute, oh man, it's just a perfect 7 minutes of television.
Oh, sorry, are you saying shinning as in shins instead of the shining? Is that what you're getting at?
Yes, that's the joke. It's the episode is called The Shinning instead of The Shining.
I want to make sure I wasn't clocked in the head or something today.
That episode contains one of my all-time favorite Simpsons quotes, which is when Smithers, because they cut off the cable and they cut off the beer supply when they leave Homer in charge of the mansion. Homer's obviously Jack Torrance, Jack Nicholson.
Yes.
And Smithers is worried about that. He's like, I don't know about cutting off the TV. Sure, this place is really isolated. I think it might drive someone crazy. And then Mr. Burns, in all his Mr. Burnsy glory, he's just like, I tell you what, Smithers, We get home and they're all murdered. I owe you a Coke. And I love that, man. I love how. Oh man, I owe you a Coke.
All right.
By the way, Dragon, The Shining is actually worked into my Halloween plans this year in theaters.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I'm excited for that. All right, folks. So as we edge closer to Halloween, we're going to be taking a look at Futurama. Dragon, of course, I kind of got off on a whole Halloween tangent there with Treehouse of Horror, but we've never really talked about Futurama, Dragon, even off air. So what are your thoughts on Futurama? This is like a fresh conversation we're having right now.
Yes, I rather like Futurama. I really do. I never really got into The Simpsons. I've seen episodes of it. Basically, when you have those characters you like, and of course, Simpsons is a show that's it's been going on for more than
way too long. Way too long.
Way too long.
Like Walking Dead right now.
I know it beat the Gunsmoke record. I wonder if is it past 30 seasons yet, or is it?
I want to say it's 30 seasons right now, or maybe it's in season 31.
Well, the point is, The Simpsons. It's been long running to ad nauseum, one might say, and for me, like my real in for The Simpsons, like the episodes of The Simpsons, I really kind of made a priority to watch were the Sideshow Bob episodes, because Kelsey Grammer, Sideshow Bob, all of that, it's a lot of fun. And again, I've seen episodes here and there, like Tiki introduced me to the Hank Scorpio episode with Greg.
Oh my god, the Hank Scorpio episode is amazing.
It is. It's great. Again, I've seen a few episodes here and there. And again,
that ending, Dragon, that ending where it's like this big, like, epic James Bond battle, and Hank Scorpio's just like, Homer, I tell you what, you got to do what's good for your family. I can't say that I'm disappointed, but I'm proud of you.
So essentially, for me, like I've really been kind of into The Simpsons via the guest star, like an Albert Brooks or a Kelsey Grammer. Or,
well, Dragon, if you want more Albert Brooks, I could point you towards more Albert Brooks characters. He's voiced a number of characters on The Simpsons.
Of course, he was in the movie as well, and so there's definitely a number of those. But Simpsons on a whole, it's like I've kind of been The Simpsons has been kind of thrown in my face, especially since it took over the beloved Back to the Future ride. So Simpsons always been kind of omnipresent.
I am not happy. I like Springfield. Like, I like the area of Universal Studios, but that whole Back to the Future, it's not worth the trade-off.
That's the thing. Like, I've gone on that ride just so I can just feel the sensation of the Back to the Future ride. You can really see, like, it's underneath the paint. It's like there's the orange and the purple paint underneath all.
It's lies, Dragon. It's lies.
It's all there. And again, the insulting thing of in the queue for the ride, they have like the video of they're making fun of Doc. They kill off Doc Brown. It's horrible. It's really it's kicking a man while he's down. Essentially, it's that sort of. Yeah, anyway, so the point is, Simpsons was it never hooked me, is what I'm getting. And a show that I just kind of kept watching, just kind of got sucked into, just kind of kept watching because it was on, and its various permutations, like it had repeated on, it had been on Fox, it had repeated. I caught most of it on Comedy Central. I remember that. I knew like they brought it back to Comedy Central exclusively at some point, so I think I actually watched the ending while it kind of came on as it premiered. For the seventh season, I did watch the last episode when everybody was watching the last episode. But on the whole, I kind of was exposed to the Futurama. I kind of realized I had watched, I think, all the episodes of Futurama as a whole just over the years. Like, oh man, I've been watching this show just when it comes on. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of fun sci-fi stuff. It's as characters, and again, over time, what Futurama did so cleverly is it not only had kind of this this kind of a Simpson-esque kind of approach to comedy, but it made you actually care about the characters and actually allowed you to do some dramatic stories, like some emotional stories with the characters, while still being able to get away with the funny stuff and kind of the satires on stuff that's going on today, or the stuff that we've been seeing in sci-fi movies, or what we think the future is going to be like. I think Futurama on the whole, to me, bear in mind, not someone who's watched every episode of The Simpsons or anything, but even a quarter.
I just want to stress, there's definitely emotional episodes of The Simpsons. I mean,
I don't doubt it.
Level of Jurassic Park or anything, but
that's what I'm saying. I think Futurama has, to me, again, as someone, I could casually watch an episode of Futurama and take a little bit more. I feel I got more bang for my buck with an episode of Futurama than I would The Simpsons. Simpsons, like, again, that's Americana. Like, if you're dialed into that show, it's like every episode's like, yeah, that's the old familiar world. Futurama, I can watch an episode of that, and I was like, man, it kind of came with some laughs, and if you rewatch it or just kind of catch a rerun, there's a little bit more notice there. Like, yeah, it's kind of it's kind of neat. And not every episode kind of wins. And Futurama was not perfect by any stretch, but I mean, it had those episodes like Jurassic Park or like the Bender origin episode or Zoidberg in Love. Like you had, again, I'm referencing a few towards the tail end of it, but I mean, there are a number of fun episodes. I got a lot of fondness for Futurama is what I'm getting at. So
See, I don't think I've seen any of the Comedy Central episodes.
yeah, I think again, I know I watched that last season. I'm pretty sure I've watched all the episodes. Just by happenstance, I love Omicron Percy I ate with Lure.
Lure, yeah, he's great.
Like Lure is funny. Like the episode where Lure basically got kicked, he got into a fight with his wife, and he was basically befriending Leela and all that. That was quite funny. Like the Futurama was an all-star cast, and like some of the great voice acting talent. Like I just felt I could invest more, and it had a lot more diversity.
Futurama was one hell of a world building show.
That's what I'm saying. It had world building. It was a little bit more diverse in the cast. Like I don't know, it just felt kind of like I guess the age-old thing is like if Simpsons is a classic hero, like a Superman or a Green Lantern, like this, like Futurama's the Justice League. It's like getting like all the heroes on there in a way, if that makes any sense. It's kind of the amalgamation of like like a lot of different flavorings of comedy and these different personalities versus kind of that family unit comedy, which again, both of them, they've had their off episodes, of course, but they've also had their episodes that they've been really on. I think Futurama is batting a little bit more from just a casual watch,
Uh-huh.
So the point is a lot of fun, this Futurama.
All right. So let's get into the Honking. It is season 3, episode 1. It's not quite a Halloween episode, but it's definitely like a take on the werewolf genre, so it definitely fits at home here on Haunted Holiday Hijinks.
Yeah. So we start the episode. We're in kind of a Hungarian Transylvanian location here. Where,
I just love the idea that Bender is like both Hispanic and Transylvanian at the same time.
Well, yeah, I think it for the gag later on. I think it's actually Hungarian, so I think that's technical. But yeah, you're right. So he has all the sorts of roots built into it. So we have this, and bear in mind, folks, Futurama has a lot of great visual gags. It's kind of like an Aardman in the making of sorts. Like there are a lot of great visual gags and a lot of great dialogue. We're not going to be able to go over every single thing, but we're going to go over like the majority of it. We're going to streamline here and there. It's a little forewarning. So
yeah, that's the thing, Dragon. We literally can't go over every gag because we'd be here all night.
I mean, let me call this out real quick. Another thing about Futurama, I think maybe in the DNA, maybe it stuck out with me a little bit more with the world building that you brought up. Rich Moore, one of the directors of Wreck-It Ralph, Zootopia, he worked on he did episodes of The Simpsons. Don't get me wrong, but I'm pretty sure he did more of Futurama. And I think that kind of shows in the work, and maybe that's kind of the X factor. Maybe that's the better way of phrasing why I like Futurama more. It's like that little X factor of that world building is kind of that populace, that landscape. Like, what if the future was like this? And like all the fun what ifs, and it, I guess delves into my love of pseudoscience. And
Dragon, what it comes down to me for is like. And I've told you this before, Simpsons doesn't start out on a good note, and obviously it doesn't end on a good note. It hasn't ended on a good note for like 10 plus years now, at least. But man, seasons 4 through 7, I mean, that was the golden age, man. That was the shit. I mean, every episode in that season, in that stretch of seasons, is just gold. So I'll agree with you that like The Simpsons, like when you look at it, it's like a collective, like with everything attached, all the baggage of like, the fact that it should have been canceled like fucking 20 years ago, practically. Yeah, Futurama is a better show, but man, The Simpsons had a high. It really did.
Right.
All right.
So we have this Transylvanian-looking robot who dies. We're going to learn this robot is Vladimir later on, but we have this robot who dies. And again, I love the signature of kind of this Transylvanian. Again, they're really selling you on the whole on the werewolf, kind of the classic monster movie vibe, despite it being in the future with robots, with like the mustaches and like the long, basically like a handlebar mustache but unleashed. It's like a handlebar mustache unleashed that turns into like a whole like a goatee beard thing where like it connects all the way. It's hilarious. Like all the facial hair is hilarious, especially built on a robot. Who would build a robot with facial hair? It's great. I love it. So anyway, so he dies. We see that I love it. All sorts of great robot gags in Futurama. Which is some of the things I love. I just love seeing kind of the workings of robots and like all this kind of pseudoscience and the technology and everything. So we have like a heart monitor built into the robot that goes at flat lines and closes the eyes, which is like putting like the slit down from the eyes. Notify his survivors. Then we cut.
Got the priest robot who seems to be present every time a robot dies in this show.
It's Preacher Bot, I think. Yeah. So then we immediately cut to again this really dramatic
NDR Bender.
Cut to happy-go-lucky Bender.
Hermes mutes Bender as he's delivering the mail to everyone.
And of course, you can see Bender's going on in the background. Just keep going, beat.
He's like doing air guitar.
Yeah. So we had your mail call, and let's see. So we have basically a variety of lingerie catalogs, and the gag here is that Amy gets one, Fry gets one, just look at the pictures, and then Leela does not get a fancy lingerie catalog. She gets bulk underpants. and the idea here, the bulk.
Buy 1 pound of underwear and you're on their mailing list forever.
Poor Leela. So again, the great Katie Seagal, of course, is Leela. Just, oh my god!
I'm gonna praise the hell out of Katie Seagal in this episode, Dragon. She's like so motherly and warm in this episode.
She is, and that's the thing. All these cast members, Futurama had some of the best voice talent in the industry. That's something you got to realize about Futurama. That's something really cool about it. I always got a kick out of you Phil Lamar, and of course voicing various characters, not just the main cast. Of course, Billy West. Katie Seagal. It's just it's a treasure trove of that.
Of course, Billy West, John DiMaggio.
DiMaggio. Oh my God, DiMaggio is Groening's good luck charm. That I wish. Can you tell me? Was there a lot of DiMaggio voices in The Simpsons? Look, I'm not trying to bring this all back.
I don't think DiMaggio did any voices in The Simpsons. If I'm being honest with you,
that's the reason.
He did like background bit characters, but I don't think he's done any major characters.
That's the reason I bring it up, because assuming that's true, just assuming.
Because with The Simpsons, the deal is that there's maybe 5 voice actors that do everything.
Exactly. Now,
Castellaneta does a lot of stuff. Harry Shearer does a lot of stuff.
And you got to remember, Tiki, and of course, in the voice acting industry, and I assume this still remains true, but for years, especially in the 90s when they're doing this, it's 3 roles. Basically, you get paid the same rate for 3 roles. So every more than 3 characters, you get paid double, essentially. You get paid for another 3 characters. It's that's why they definitely got it rewarded for all those voices they did. But the thing with DiMaggio, the reason I bring it up is that I think just Matt Groening realized that DiMaggio was one of the X factors. So it was untapped comedic potential for him. And DiMaggio
I don't think Billy West did anything for The Simpsons either.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that's the thing. And right now, Groening he's done Disenchantment, which by the way got picked up for a 2nd season, or at least to continue. It did a part 1, part 2 thing. So I guess it got picked up for the continuation. If not,
I've been meaning to watch Disenchantment. I got about halfway through the 1st episode, and I was like, this really feels like a Futurama ripoff.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that, but the ending picks up. I'll tell you that much. The ending does pick up, so it makes you interested. It makes you kind of blasé. I'll give it another shot. It's kind of one of those.
I'm pretty sure it'll be one of those shows like BoJack. I'm not saying it's as good of a show as BoJack by any means, but BoJack was on my Netflix queue for years before I actually got around to it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, BoJack, just because I kept hearing you prattle on about it, and then I basically just had when you pause something on Netflix, the little screen saver thing comes on, and I kept seeing these images of BoJack kind of pop up and taunt me, it's check it out, come on, it's there, why don't you give it a shot? He's always prattling on about it, all right, fine, Will Arnett's in it, fine, I'll give it a shot. Anyway, so ultimately watch that. And the point is, again, DiMaggio, he's really good in Disenchantment, which is what I'm getting at here. So he brought him back as the king. He's one of the main roles in Disenchantment. And it's DiMaggio's kind of doing his thing there. So it's anyway. So off to the whole treasure trove of voice actors and everything, which kind of got us on that. Bender gets on the mail. He gets a black border envelope, which means death in the future. So who is it, Tiki? Who's been killed in relation to Bender?
Oh no, it's my Uncle Vladimir.
Yes, poor Uncle Vladimir, one of the few uncles that Bender did like. He's the service is being held at his family's castle, at Vladimir's castle, and they're all. And of course, Bender assumes he's going to get a huge stipend. He's going to get something left to him in the will. followed by a
Well,
reading of
I'm rich. Goodbye, losers, who I've always hated.
walks out of the room, and then a moment of pause goes by and says, "Come on, it'll be fun." Classic Bender, good old Bender. So we have kind of a classic landing gag with Futurama where they're kind of having kind of a not a crash land, but they land through the spider web and they have to kind of thrust on through the spider web. And then they're basically in the thermostat capital of the Robo-Hungarian Empire. So again, that's where they are. So again, I think Transylvania is kind of like it's like thermostat capital of the Robo-Hungarian Empire. I just love the fact there's a Robo-Hungarian Empire. Forgive me for just lingering on that. Anyway, so the point is, it's kind of a Transylvania knockoff, but for robots. That's the main point. And I gotta tell you, with Disenchantment, I think Matt Groening has a love of medieval and castles. I really think that's what, at the end of the day, that's what it is. Like they did those Futurama specials where Bender's playing games that are like knockoffs of Lord of the Rings and Dungeons and Dragons and everything. So I think just deep down, he loves Lord of the Rings. He wants to do kind of castles and royalty and all sorts of stuff like that. I think deep down, I think Groening's just got a love for it. Maybe it's the writers, maybe it's him.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I'm trying to think of like medieval episodes of The Simpsons, and nothing's really coming to mind, at least in the golden age of The Simpsons.
I mean, they really made like a lot of they did like a whole like 4-part movie event of that, and then when they do the live readings of the scripts, one of the main live readings they do, or they literally read through the script of Lord of the Rings, but using the voice cast of Futurama to read through the script.
Have they really done that? That's great.
Yeah, you can find it on YouTube. Yeah.
Oh man.
All right, let's see. So after the landing there, so they're asking a coachman for a ride to the castle. Then they kind of spook the locals, and they say, "Oh, the legend says unholy things are up there." Superstitious mumbo jumbo, Professor Farnsworth says. Mumbo, maybe. Jumbo, no. So it's like this world is basically getting into it. What the professor here is saying, like, is science any closer to learning how a robot walks, how a robot talks?
Yes, you idiot! The circuit diagram is right here on the inside of your case.
I believe what I was programmed to believe.
Very Tron-like ideology right there, Dragon.
I just love the absurdity, and this is the thing that kills me about Futurama. I love like the I'll admit, what they do in this episode is not one of my favorite aspects of Futurama. It's fine. I'm just saying it's I think it's the one gag they kind of go to when they have nothing else, the age-old science versus magic thing, where it's like, we can have magic. Basically, we can have magic so long as we ground in something of science. I think other episodes they've done it better, like the whole satanic ritual, where it's like we sacrifice a robotic goat, that sort of comedy. I think that's funny. But because again, it's like, what do you mean this isn't magic? Again, like they're basically just doing kind of the superstitious and everything, but using one iota of science, and they kind of do that here. So it's kind of funny, I guess. So I like that we have these moments that are Farnsworth, that we have a legitimate skepticism met with it's kind of a fun little satire on people. How you always have these people who are very vocal about their beliefs, and he's going to undercut them with hard logic, and it's still not going to get you anywhere. Right. So, one carriage ride later to the castle. I can go no further, of course.
Rolling the head.
God. Oh, Terry Gar, what a blessing. Anyway. So yeah, I love this guy. They're at the castles. I can take you no further. And of course, they're at the front door. That's why I can't take me. Very Beauregard joke. So, let's see. So they're at the grave sites, and I love this little hint. By the way, I love in the cemetery you have like LeBaron. I have all these car hints for later on. Like there's a LeBaron on one of the headsets. So we have Preacher Bot here. Preacher Bot is going on the whole circuits rust to rust. And we see the way they bury a robot in in a funeral setting where they styrofoam into a cardboard box, which essentially functions as the casket and says "Return to sender." Yeah, that's funny. So the preacher, he dumps the dirt there, and then of course we have the reading of the will. And again, a really great mustache design on the robot, who's the executor of the will. I love that robot design. He's got these big teeth and everything. It's great.
Dragon, I'd like to think those mustaches have some sort of like mechanical purpose behind
I'm
them.
sure they do, Tiki.
Like they're an exhaust pipe or something like that.
They do, but most likely it's like circuitry underneath. Like we've had those
Oh,
jokes in Futurama before, like they've had like essentially like a transvestite joke with a robot, where the idea is like Bender had like the Z-ray, and he looked under there, and the idea is like you can see the circuitry built into the excess feature. So that's definitely how it works. Is under the hood. That's also maybe not a literal exhaust pipe, but something like that. Yes, and I think you're absolutely right about that. So the reading the will. What do you want to take us through this?
yeah, sure. So let's see. One sec. So, you there, for his decades of service, I leave a pittance to be paid in 20 equal installments of 1/20th of a pittance each. And the butler's just sobbing. To my lazy, spoiled son, Tandy, who never knew the value of a dollar, I leave my entire fortune.
Which is, I believe,
$10 million.
$10 million. And of course, the Tandy to his lady companion says, "Is that a lot?"
He
That
really
guy,
doesn't
Tiki,
know.
that guy was. I completely forget about that guy rewatching.
He
That is
really
so.
doesn't know the value of a dollar.
I know it's funny. It's like not half like oh, it's just he always they
It's
went
like
the other
he's
way
got
with
some
it.
kind of like learning disability or something.
That's what I'm saying. They went the other way with it. I respect that. You know, they didn't go the obvious like, oh, should I just like throw my other pile of things and money? It's like, no, it's not that. Oh, it literally doesn't. That's funny. So, and then to my loving nephew Bender, assuming he's not responsible for my death, I leave my castle, and Bender's like, "Oh yeah, let's stay the night on the condition that he stay the night." Oh,
Oh, there's always a catch.
so so this is a classic vaudevillian plot, by the way.
Oh
Like
yeah,
Advocate,
absolutely.
I've seen this in the
I love
Advocate.
how so how so off the rails it goes. I love how this is basically just like a setup to the actual premise.
It is, and this is something that Family Guy used to employ, but over the years they, well, basically in the long extended death of Family Guy, as the years went on, they basically relied too firmly on this structure. Act one is basically what gets you from point A to point B. Then Act two basically gets you the completely different story, and Act three is just all ridiculousness, and almost like it's an unrecognizable story. And then basically Family Guy got too cocky, and they made it just they basically had like a we don't care philosophy, like a more not like a we don't care as in like we don't care, we're having such a good time. It's like we don't care as in we don't care anymore. We're just done.
It's like, yeah, we don't
Like the ink in my pen, it's evaporated. It doesn't. I don't care. I'm writing with air. I'm just making indentations in the paper and hoping they get read. That's all I'm at right now.
care.
Gas out of the tank. I mean, the heat just evaporated all. I'm just done. Anyway, so the point is, so the vaudevillian.
Dark.
Anyway, so the vaudevillian plot here, what I love. Now, I've seen Epic Costello and the Epic Costello show and like various kind of skits that they've done. They've done the old like there's money hidden in the mansion, or like you're willed something so long as you stay the night, and then Lou and Bud would stay there with the girl or whoever they've been invited to stay with, so they can get a portion of the money or a cut of the money, and they're going to stay the night with him. Lou, of course, as many people remember from Alex Tony Frankenstein, very fearful, and of course, Bud's like, oh, you're seeing nothing. That's age old time tested gag. So it's always nice to see vaudeville come back in 3,000 years from now. Always see vaudeville. Year 3,000 plus. Okay, so we have a creepy castle set up. You know, we got bats, we got lightning, and Bender says, "I got a good feeling about this place." You got this nice long dinner table. You got basically all the trappings. Yeah, they're calling out all the cliche trappings. That's fun. It's the quiet, well-behaved spiders. That's my favorite. Quiet, well-behaved spiders. Like they come down, they're imposing, but they're not getting in the way. Quiet, well-behaved spiders. Graveyard adjacent. This is gonna be, this is gonna be great. And of course, he's scared instantly by something. Ah! And of course,
That painting, the eyes are watching me.
of course, the pseudoscience here. Farnsworth goes over and he basically waves and says, "Oh, these are they're it's got motorized motion detectors in. There are motors in the eyes moving back and forth on a motion detector." Well, you don't see me doing that. You don't see me frame my butt can do that too. You don't see me framing that. Although that's classic Bender right there. He's very proud of his shiny metal. Anyway, so he's so the gang hears what are they? They hear laughing. Oh yes, they hear maniacal laughing, maniacal laugh.
Maniacal laugh.
And Zoidberg thinks, well, whatever it is, it's infectious. I
I love Zoidberg, man. Zoidberg used to be my favorite character.
think in the grand scheme, Zoidberg's kind of like Cliff the Mailman for Futurama. I think that he's kind of a mixture of like Norm. He's kind of a squid-like mixture between Norm and Cliff the Mailman. So let's see. So then they go to the study, which of course you always go to the study because why else have a haunted castle? You need a study. So they go to the study. It's haunted. Bender's very freaked out, very Lou Costello-esque. He's freaked out and shaking. He says, "Okay, look, Bender, the last human ghost died. The last ghost died 200 years ago. The last human ghost, not the last robot ghost." So we hear a sound. We got sound effects and everything here, and then we have this a bloody binary, a bloody binary.
God, perfect. I love this gag, Dragon. This is probably my favorite gag of the episode.
Tell them about it. Tell them about it.
All right, so we have the bloody binary comes up on the mirror. Hold on, I'm trying to. Does it show up in blood on the mirror at first?
Well, no, it's on the wall, and it's like a binary code. What does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It's on the wall, and it's like 01011001001. What does that mean? I don't know. It's just gibberish.
And then he looks and he sees a mirror adjacent to it, which reflects the thing backwards, and then Bender's freaked out by it.
10100110010. No.
I love that he doesn't even he doesn't even share what it translates to. I just love that.
Dragon, that's the Futurama writing staff giving credit to its audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so Bender is chased off by screensavers. Spooky.
Yes. Very spooky, yes. So essentially we have the robot equivalent to Ghost here, which are kind of floating with Vladimir, and it basically goes down this hall of portraits, and basically all this portraiture has various relatives of Vladimir, and I guess kind of the extended family. Says, Bender, you come be like us. We come be. It's fun. You'll like being dead. That's me. Said the same thing about being alive, and of course he freaks out and he runs away. So take us through kind of the poltergeist explanation here, would you?
Okay, I can probably do it word for word if you just give me a second.
All right. Also want to give a quick shout out here while you're getting that ready. Got Ralph Gonzalez and Lorraine Stone in the comments. Much appreciated.
Nice. How you doing, guys? That's Ralph Gonzalez, you said?
Yes, Ralph Gonzalez from, I believe, the last Haunted Holiday Hijinks we did.
You just subscribed to the channel, so thank you so much for subscribing, Ralph. Really appreciate it.
Ralph is awesome.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so set it up, Dragon. Just set up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. One real quick. Lorraine. I'm sorry. I'm reading the Lorraine Stone thing. I'm reading the message here. It says, "Hey guys, it's Mandela Man under an assumed name." There we go. So that's who it actually. That's who Lorraine Stone actually is by own admission. I'm not giving anything away. By own public admission. There.
Does Mandela Man have anything to do with the Mandela effect?
I imagine so, possibly. But actually, there's an invitation here. I want to read it to you.
All right.
Hey guys, it's Mandela Man under an assumed name. I'd like to come in and talk some Disney parks when you're done with this episode. I am, after all, the only one watching live. Again, Gonzalez is here, so I presume so. Well, no, I'm sorry. Gonzalez is here too, so I believe that now would be amended. But I'm reading an old comment here, so forgive me for that.
Wait, so you're saying he wants to come into the hangout? Like
No. I believe after after the episode, after we're done this, perhaps.
I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to that. I just have to wake up super early for work tomorrow, so I kind of have to get to bed soon after this. But I don't know. We'll chat. We'll chat.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Don't you worry.
Okay.
Anyway, let's get back to the episode here. So you got it?
Yeah. Okay.
Here we go.
Well, set it up first. Set it up.
Okay, so Professor Farnsworth, he's going out there, and they're going to the graveyard, and they kind of come across like a poltergeist explanation for what all these ghosts and goblins going on here. No, it's a little obscure Billy D. Williams quote, but no, seriously. And the explanation for why all the ghosts and all the haunting and all the kind of the eerie goings on and the blood and the bloody binary and everything. So he discovers a modem in the cemetery.
Yes. These robots were buried in improbably shielded coffins. Their programming linked into the castle's wiring through the old abandoned modem, allowing them to project themselves as holograms. Then Hermes just like, of course, it was so obvious. Yes, that sequence of words I said made perfect sense.
They're just calling themselves out on like, yeah, as long as we addressed a little bit of pseudoscience, we can get away with it.
You know what? I can totally buy the pseudoscience here. To me, it did make sense.
No, that's the thing. It does absolutely make sense, and I just love that. It's like it does make sense, but still, there's the knowledge like, yeah, we could still get away with it without this, but just now we've said it, we've gotten away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, we better tell Bender before he runs off. And of course, Bender runs off before they get a chance to tell him. And as Bender is run off the property, which I presume means he doesn't get to keep the castle, and considering we never see the castle again, I'm inclined to believe that. Bender's run off the property, and he is hit by a car. And I love the lighting here. It's the lighting of a monster movie. It looks great. He's hit by the car. The car goes off, and then basically silhouette against the moon. And you'll be like the howl followed by the honk honk.
I love the honk honk.
Of course, it's the classic scene homage from the werewolf, where from the Wolf Man, where man is attacked by a wolf, and and of course we'll pay the price. Yeah. Okay. So they find Bender the next morning. How's it go?
Bender's kind of discombobulated.
Does anyone have any liquor? Of course, all of them have like some form of liquor, and like he goes for Amy's flask, and it's Bender's come to like, buddy, what happened to you? Like, oh god, I was hit by a hover car or something.
No, it's not a hover car. It was a spooky car with round legs that walked on the ground, all crawly
like a wolf. I just love the absurdity. We have to address the wolf man somehow within all of this. I have like that little wolf gag, and also just the kind of the prehistoric thing of we have for the future where they're all hover converted to a car on all four wheels on the ground. So kind of acknowledge it that way. That's kind of fun. Yeah. So they see these tire tracks, which make them think Bender's telling the truth. Gasp! So it's the next morning. Bender, he's looking in rough shape. He looks terrible. Zoidberg suggests a Mary Kay to remedy this situation. Bender, my friend, may I recommend some Mary Kay? Of course, he's just Zoidberg always with like a little eccentricity. He's always into something, that Zoidberg. Let's see. So we have anyways, Bender's going on about these nightmares he's been having. He's been having nightmares about running over humans left and right. Leela kind of comes in the scene and says, "Oh, hey guys, you hear about these hit and runs?" Basically, has a newspaper saying hit and runs been happening by the old robot porno theater, which of course Bender freaks out.
I was in that general area last night.
And he thinks it's the same guy that hit him over in kind of Robo-Hungarian Empire, aka Robo Transylvania.
Mm.
He's been so he thinks it's the same guy. So let's see. So Hermes says, "Oh, stop being a big hallucinating baby. This is not the same guy.
This is classic. This was a classic John DiMaggio delivery. Would a big paranoid baby do this?" And then he just starts like hysterically sobbing.
Right.
I'm sorry, Dragon. Did we go over the makeup thing with Zoidberg?
Yeah, we did briefly. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just want to dwell on that though. I'm sorry. It's just like. Can we just go back to that? Just how absurd it is that Zoidberg is just randomly selling makeup? Because I feel like we can't just skip over that.
Yeah, again, I love that Zoidberg's always has like these random hobbies all the time. Like he tries to be a homeowner, and he tries to be like
It
all
just
sorts of
so
things.
happens I have my Mary Kay sample case.
I presume that Zoidberg's taken up selling Mary Kay. That's the only passion. He's selling Mary Kay on the side, and
Many people dream of a fresh new look, and Mary Kay can make those dreams come true. I love it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to like backtrack, but I wanted to spotlight that a little bit.
right. Okay. So let's see. So okay. So we see
But
this
yeah, like
so
I said, the classic delivery with John DiMaggio. Oh yeah, can a big hallucinating baby do this?
I'm scared. So again, complete calories like a hallucinating
I love
baby.
the animation of Bender with his with the like the bloodshot eyes.
Then we cut to later that night where we have this silver car driving on the tubes of New York. Yes, I said tubes of New York. It's the future. Two crooks are smashing up a car, and they're very. I like how honestly conversation these crooks are having here. This is like they have to be in church tomorrow. It's something along those lines.
I don't like. I don't know what I like better: smashing cars or smashing faces. Well, luckily you don't have to choose. Now, come on, we have to be in church tomorrow.
Again, they're thieves with priority. They're hooligans with priorities. More accurately, I don't know if they've stolen anything. There's been the destruction of property. So these two crooks, they've smashed the car. They're on their way. We have the POV of the car, which is great. I love this. This is a classic horror movie shot here, where they have the car is stalking them and kind of parks into and hides in plain sight, pulling into a parking space. That's so intimidating. Again, it's like that's old. That's kind of Christine level. It's like that's very Christine-esque.
Uh-huh.
So, let's see. Following that, they think they're being followed, and they they think they're being followed, and they kind of duck into this hotel or something. They duck into a building, and they think they're safe. And of course, the elevator doors open, and the car is somehow
I
in.
love that. I love that.
The car is somehow in the elevator and charges at them. We don't even see what happened to them, but I think we know. Obviously, they're goners. So, next morning, again, very werewolf style, and I love this, very Wolfman-esque, where Bender wakes up in transmission fluid in a parking lot. Again, it's like waking up in the blood of your victims type stuff. I love that. Okay, classic Wolfman. It's classic Lon Chaney waking up like, oh my god, what have I done? You putting his hair back and everything. Classic Chaney. Give me some Lon Chaney. So Sal is the recurring John DiMaggio character, basically the construction worker guy. So Sal, that's this guy.
Oh,
Sal wakes Bender up. Get up, you no
please
good.
help me. I'm scared. Well, scared? We're all scared. Why do you think it's a human condition? Why do you think I puts on this tough guy persona?
That's funny. That's a great astute line. I love that. So,
Just
Bender.
Sal getting like oddly introspective, like a brief moment of introspection from Sal.
Yes. Let's see. So Bender confronts his friends about waking up and waking up in the way he did, and the fuzzy dice in his chest and everything. Fry thinks it's like from a big fuzzy craps game. Which Bender needs. Bender realizes he needs the professor's help here. I'm sorry, professional help.
I need professional help.
Yes.
Damn the cost.
Cut to.
And then what do we cut to, Dragon?
A fortune teller, like a Zotar looking. Basically, it's a Zotar machine fortune teller. And of course, the Wolfman had a fortune like a gypsy in it that basically had the whole werewolf legend and everything built into it. So that's kind of what they're homaging with the fortune teller. And of course,
And how much does it cost?
Nickel.
Damn the cost.
So very Lucy from the Peanuts-esque gag there, just like puts a nickel in, she activates, and basically reveals Bender is a were-car. So basically, the other the car must have beamed the virus into Bender, which basically infected him with a virus that has turned him into a recurring were-car.
Mm.
Every night he's going to turn into a murderous foreign car. But I'm not famous enough to run over people and get away with it. So he's asking for help, and you have to pay a terrible price. Yeah, I know. Puts another nickel in, which is great. And they learns the cure to the werecarism is to destroy the original, which I believe is per the original Wolfman lore. I think that's the way. Yeah. You know, more. You know. Anyways, so let's see. So.
Oh, I'm definitely more of a Frankenstein guy myself too, Dragon. But
exactly, you know. So okay, let's see. So as much as I love Cheney, though, I do love.
We need to talk about the original Frankenstein. God damn it! There's no excuse why it hasn't been on the roster yet.
Well, we did having Sloppy Frankenstein last year.
I know we did Young Frankenstein last year. I know, but anyways.
Anyway, Okay, so wait, so then Bender's asking, wait a minute, you mean as a werecar I can't die? Like, it basically questioning the logistics of being a werewolf, which, you know, being a werecar, which actually makes a lot of sense to question it like that. Well, you mean I could live forever, technically? Says, no, you want to die? Just like asking Bender, you know, he pulls out a gun, like, no, there's still things I don't own. So she warns that each night the kills will intensify and will get to a point where he's going to gruesomely kill until he kills his best friend, his dearest friend. And Fry, like, oh, I don't want to be me right now, because Fry believes he's going to be the one on the chopping block here. Says, you know, she says, go, get out of here. And of course she falls over and says, help me, please. Well, never mind, I'll sleep it off. I'll just sleep like this. Of course, she just turns off and sleeps on the ground. That's funny. Okay, meanwhile, we're at the Robot Arms apartment. Bender's being welded into the wall.
I love how motherly Leela is in this moment. She's just like, all right, mister, no rampaging for you tonight. Dare I say, Dragon? Dare I say it?
Go on.
Almost Formiga-esque.
Almost. He actually did kind of play a scary cybernetic version of Formiga once in a movie. She in that, you know, the house mom thing. Remember, she played the robot house and she was the mom.
Yes. Oh god, that was classic.
Yep.
But no, I mean, I could totally imagine Vera Farmiga, like Norma Bates, just being like let's just say, like, if Norma would have lived, and, you know, like, she would have actually been in the house when Norman was killing everybody. She's just like, all right, Norman, no killing rampages for you tonight, mister.
It would make things a little less creepy in Bates Motel if somehow she just became one with the house instead of like being carried around like a corpse and everything. All right, so Leela, she basically he's in there until morning, so he doesn't slaughter until they can slaughter the original the following morning. Leela leaves to go make her dinners, and this sounds like Formiga line. I'm going to go make my dinners for the month.
And then freeze them.
Yes. So they're going off their separate ways, and then meanwhile, so again, basically midnight strikes. Bender, then he transforms, and basically they're homaging American Werewolf in London here, one of the most famous werewolf transformations ever, like the gruesome transformation, but it's a robot, so it's like
Dragon American Werewolf in London is another one that's like overdue to be covered on the show.
Yeah, it's Landis magic too. Anyway, okay, so. His arms turn to tires. His body stretches out, and he gets headlights. I just want to point out, it's a really great design. The wear.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I love that design so much.
He's got the bumper sticker. If you can read this, I ran you over.
Yeah, that's great. So he drives off, howling at the moon. Honk, honk,
honk.
Let's see. So Leela and Fry, they're going in opposite directions, and of course, they.
I love the atmosphere. Again, you already brought up the tubes, but I like the tubes. Is like one of my favorite aesthetic design choices in Futurama.
It signifies the future without even having to do anything with it. So it's just instantly something some of those Jetsons like about this future. It's mundane Jetsons.
Yeah.
So let's see. Turns the corner, and Leela dodges the werecar right at the last second there. Of course, realizing Bender's turned to werecar and trying to kill her. Fry sees Leela being chased by Bender down into an alley, and it's going to come back momentarily here. And then realizing, well, I thought I was your best friend. You're two-timing killer. What kind of two-time killing machine are you? So Leela, she runs into a junkyard behind this fenced-off area there. She brushes off. She bounces off this mattress into like this pile of junk. So basically, she's kind of hanging from that for a bit there. Bender crashes into the pile of junk, and she's meanwhile manned a crane, and the crane is like holding Bender in midair until he transforms the next morning to safety. Fry is hung up on the choice of, like, he went after Leela instead of me.
Did I hurt anyone? Did I hurt you, Fry? Not physically.
He wasn't targeted for death by Bender.
Billy
But I
West
love
is just playing this whole scene perfectly.
That's great. Stop rubbing it in, And of course, we have this beautiful bit here where he reveals that it was Leela, and Leela says, "Yes, Bender, it was very sweet of you."
Again, so motherly.
Yep, and then of course Fry. He basically explains to Fry, it doesn't mean anything.
I
I
have
can.
love enough for two
Yep.
words, nothing but sweet, sweet words.
There's more orange wax in my ears. So they go back to the castle to hunt for the original. They sorry, they basically come across the wrong guy, where they realize, okay, this villager that has come. Basically, this villager accosts them and says, "Hey, who are you?" And they're like, "Yeah, we get it. The curse. We're all cursed." And they follow the tracks of the garage. They're accosted by this guy, and he says, there's a really funny gag here. We can't get hung up on every gag here. The point is, it's like, we're not
The whole
stupid and
stupid and violent thing.
yeah, stupid and violent. So then, of course, they get very violent with him, which is like, kick him while he's down. That sort of comedy. Let's see.
We're
So
sophisticated New Yorkers. Whip his butt.
that's the way it goes. Yes. So let's see. So then they realize, okay, this guy's not the original.
Be he see. Again, a little bit of Bender Spanish coming out there.
God. So Bender Bending Rodriguez, because Bending is his middle name. Okay, let's see. So following that, they basically learned he was not the original Werecar, so they go to the abominable snowmobile in the Arctic, which of course made me think of the Cars bloopers with the abominable snowmobile.
Oh God, yeah.
Or at least like the epilogue, not the bloopers. Anyway. So basically, it's this Alaskan bot who took a learning annex class with a very famous actor, and that very famous actor was none other than the only famous actor in Futurama, who is
Calculon.
Yeah. So Calculon is he's speaking very Shakespearean because he's in like the Shakespearean get up for a role, and they want to like Bender wants to let's kick him some more, and he goes, well, let me explain. 1,000 years ago. Wait a minute, you're 1,000 years old? Yes, every. The idea of Calculon, he's played all the famous actors, Unit 20 something 27, like Bio Unit 27. Sorry, he changes it every year, and of course one of the. I'm sorry, I gotta get 0.8. Thespomat and David Duchovny. That is really. That's David Duchovny. He was a very robotic actor, therefore he's a robot actually. Calculon was in the X-Files. That's quite funny. So again, really great backstory on Calculon. We see that he started off as like an assembly line robot, and that's how he was the original victim. So I mean, they're very close because he was the original victim. We have this great flashback to the creation of the original Werecar. So it's 2019. So folks, next year, Werecar, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's all time travel next year.
Yeah, right.
So let's see. So Calculon was a robot arm. I'm sorry. Do you want to take us through this?
1 sec. I'm writing something out.
So just to cue it up here. So basically, Calculon is this robot arm in a research lab for this project called Project Satan. I know, spooky. And Project Satan essentially was it was kind of they were trying to salvage a military. They're making the savage military vehicle built from the most evil cars in history. Those most evil cars in history included the steering wheel from Hitler's staff car, the big long car,
the left blinker from Manson's VW,
and the windshield wipers from that car who was in Knight Rider. He was Kid from Knight Rider. Wait a minute, he wasn't evil. His windshield wipers were. It didn't come up much in the show though.
And of course, there's another element of the show that Dragon I'm sure you loved on a rewatch.
Yeah.
But we'll get there.
We'll get there. Don't you worry. So, So let's see, and we see Cacon get hit by the thing when it came. It was more evil than they ever imagined. It came to life, and it basically bumps into Cacon, and therefore he became a werecard. I love how seamless you literally just get hit by this thing, you become a werecards. Anyway, so he's in one of two places: in Paris,
Or much more likely,
the Automotive Lab, the Auto Lab, which is the anti-Chrysler building. Which
Anti-Chrysler.
that's funny. That's it's so simple, but it's so funny. The anti-Chrysler building. So the plan is for Fry and Bender to distract the werecar as Leela, as Leela, puts kills it with the silver potato, puts it in the muffler. The silver potato is priceless. Kill with a silver potato. It's sorry, it's funny. So they spot this giant flaming boiler. It's next to this giant flaming furnace, I guess. And they think it looks so unhappy. It's like, oh man, it looks so unhappy. And then Leela goes over there and she kind of like she tries to reach out to it. Says, would you like us to put you out of your misery? He says, what misery? I love killing people.
The Bender's just like, look, I know everyone loves killing people, but I don't want to hurt my friends.
Same Project Satan just wants to kill everybody.
God, that Bender just wants to kill everybody.
That Bender just wants to kill all humans.
All right.
So till their organs squirt on a little like chunky mustard. So everybody loves killing people. Doesn't want to hurt it. He doesn't want to hurt his friends though, and of course, conveniency. Bender transforms in that moment. It's midnight yet again. Bender says, "Oh man, this is starting to feel good," and they kind of team up to go after the humans here. Fry distracts Project Satan, which leads to, "Hey, pedestrian, 20 points, go for me!" And he's luring it away from Leela. And Leela, she jumps on the car. Again, the plan is going seamlessly until,
oh no, there's no exhaust pipe.
Yeah.
Why is there no exhaust pipe?
Now this is my favorite line here. This is the one you knew about, right? Thanks to Ed Bigley Jr. Thanks to Ed Bigley Jr.'s electric motor, the most evil propulsion system conceived.
No, of course, folks, if you happen to watch our season 2 coverage of Better Call Saul, you would know that there's nothing in the world more terrifying than an angry Ed Begley Jr.
Oh god, yeah, nothing. Just Ed Bigley Jr. The fact that we've referenced him is funny. I kept meaning to look into this, like what the whole deal with the electric motor is. I believe Ed Bigley Jr. might have been involved in the actual creation of that thing, like his family name. I forget if it was him directly or if they just kind of made a leap there and make it funnier. I don't know, but I love it. I appreciate it. Ed Bigley Jr., one of the finest actors. Seriously, he's one of the greats. All right, Teague, why don't you take us? Why don't you keep the ball rolling here?
Yeah, sure. So let's see. Sorry, kind of my notes are a little bit vague. Okay, here we go. So basically, the two cars have Leela and Fry lined up, and the evil car is just like, take whichever one you like. And so it's basically a choice between Fry and Leela. Bender's just like, oh boy, I feel like a car in a candy store. Kind of goes back and forth a couple times. Fry Leela. Then ultimately he settles on Fry.
And
Fry's running. He's just like, wait, yes, he chose me. He's trying to kill me. Leela, I'm so happy.
Yes. All right, so
all right, so he ends up in the driver's seat of the car. The seatbelt comes up for him automatically. Oh, thanks, Bender. Until it tries to choke him. Too tight.
Yes. So let's see. So after that, again, some just. So basically, they make this great Evil Knievel leap here. So yeah, we have Project Satan, and we have Fry within Bender. That's important. Fry's within Bender right now. They make this leap over a great number of buses, at least over 20 buses. I tried counting, but let's just say it's at least over 20. So it's a lot of buses. Yeah. It's an age-old Evil Knievel stunt. So Bender and Project Satan, they almost collide. It's a really great spectacle. I gotta be honest. It's a good third act finish.
It is.
So Project Satan, he makes it, but he lands directly in the furnace. He tries braking, and of course he flips over and burns in the fire, and he melts down. Of course, with him dead, again per the legend, he dies. Bender's going back to normal. Unfortunately, he's at a very inopportune time because as Bender lands, we, the audience, know Fry is within Bender. Therefore, Fry might be gone. Therefore, the show would be over. Therefore, ratings. Exactly. So anyway, so that Bender lands. I love the landing too, where he mid landing he transforms from car to Bender. He's just kind of running and he's kind of clip clopping.
Yeah.
And then of course he falls ultimately. And of course, like, oh no, where's Fry?
I've murdered Fry,
my best friend. I feel so empty inside. And of course, we reveal Fry is he's perfectly fine. He hid inside Bender's chassis and he just kind of climbs out. Hey, Bender, look,
I didn't kill you. No, but you wanted to, and that's all that matters.
Exactly, and he drinks it.
He was just kind of off to the side, like, yeah. All right, so he opens a beer. Here's to you. Hey, that was my last beer, you bastard. I'll kill you. I'll kill you too, buddy. I'll kill you too.
And of course, like a moment of pause goes by, and of course we think, okay, it's going to end on a happy note. Where nope, Bender goes to strangle Fry for a moment, and as the credits come up, we still hear the strangle going on. Quite funny.
And of course, Dragon, this kind of calls to mind the classic, like Homer strangling Bart on The Simpsons.
Yes.
Whenever you get the strangling in a graining show, you get those wiggly lips.
Yeah, like the little darting tongue or whatever. It's going to be strangling 101 with raining, I guess.
All right.
Okay.
And that's the episode.
Yeah, so what do you think?
Dragon, I gotta say, talking through this one, I really like it a lot. I think it's one of the best ones we've done this season, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, it's a really solid episode. It's fun.
I mean, it's not Halloween, but it's very much in the same vein of it fits right in with our lineup.
It's the werewolf, ipso facto Halloween. It's a fun sci-fi take on the wolf man, which I really appreciated. It's kind of it's not like the top tier Futurama episodes, but it's solid for what they're doing. Like they got the satire, they got all the reverential stuff, they got some fun deep cuts. Comedy going on there. It's a lot of fun. It's basky and it's definitely worth checking out. I highly recommend it. Yeah, I think it's a good addition to the Haunted Holiday Hijinks lineup.
All right, short, sweet, and to the point. That's how I like it. Well, that's the end of tonight's selection, and our spirits grow weary, but they'll be stronger the next time. I'm sorry, they'll be stronger than ever next time, as we engage in even more Haunted Holiday Hijinks. Maniacal laugh.
Honk honk.
Same old Bender just wants to kill everybody.